Hi there, Joan Kosmachuk, your seasonal color, style, and confidence coach. And today I want to give you some tips for hairstyle and color. I was just recently at my hairdresser and we got talking about this, and I realized, gosh, this is a question I often get asked with clients as well. How do I choose the best hairstyle and the best hair color for my seasonal type, and also just for my hair and all kinds of other things, because there's so many factors that go into choosing a hairstyle that's visually harmonious with you. So here are a couple of tips that I have, and I'm going to start with first, when you go into the hairdresser and you're going to have this conversation with your hairdresser, because hairdressers know a lot about cutting hair and they know a lot about style, and you want to give them every opportunity to give you the very best advice they can about your hair and your style. So there's a couple of things that are going to go into that. So number one is getting a good understanding. If you don't already know, ask your hairdresser to explain to you, what is your hair type? Is it coarse? Is it fine? Is it thick? Is it thin? Is it curly? Is it straight? Is it kinky? I mean, there's lots of different descriptions we have for the way our hair is, and we have to work with that. So when you're Googling hairstyles, you want to add in that little adjective like hairstyles for coarse hair, or hairstyles for thick hair, or hairstyles for fine hair, or hairstyles for thinning hair. Because if you just put in hairstyles in general, you're going to get all kinds of gorgeous hairstyles. You're going to think, oh, I love the look of that. I think, oh, maybe I'll go for that. And it may not work with your actual hair type, and it might, really kind of just never turn out the way that the model is looking when they've had their hair styled that way, because their hair type is totally different from yours. So if you don't already know your hair type, you want to ask your hairstylist to help you to identify that, because that's going to be really helpful in knowing what hairstyles are actually going to work with your hair type. The other thing you want to really have been honest about with your hairdresser is, how much maintenance are you going to put into your hairstyle? Are you the kind of person who just wants to step out of the shower, towel dry your head and go? Or are you the kind of person who loves to, get out that straight iron and, all the different products, and really have fun creating different styles and looks with your hair? Are you a person who loves to do updos? Or, are you a person who needs a style that if you put it in rollers, that's going to work? You have to figure out what it is that you're prepared to do, because that's another important piece of information that you need to give to your hairstylist so they can recommend cuts and styles that are going to work for you. But let's say we now have the answer to those two questions. There's a couple of other things you want your hairdresser to see. And one of these is, you want your hairdresser to see the full length of you. And you say, well, that's very obvious. I walked into the salon. But so often somebody else in the salon, while your hairstylist is busy, they get you seated, they get you in a cape, they might even take you back and already shampoo your hair and bring you out before you're having that conversation with the stylist. And if it is a new stylist or a new style, I'm going to encourage you to resist allowing yourself to be plunked in a chair and have a cape thrown on. And the reason for this is because when we have that cape on, okay, everything is usually black, right, from there down, and all the hairstylist is seeing you now is your hair. They have no idea how tall or short you are. They don't know how broad or narrow your shoulders are. They don't really have a good sense of the proportion of where your head sits on your body. So that's something I find is a really big miss for hairdressers. The really good ones I've seen, they always want you to come in and they want just to talk to you standing for a little bit before they get you in the chair. And there's good reason for that. So in art, we have something called the golden mean. That's where we draw a head length, and then in order for the body that you have you want to draw to go with that head, it is going to be 8 head lengths. That's proportionate, and that will be a balanced body vertically. Okay, now some of you are vertically balanced. That is amazing. You don't have to do a single thing to help visually balance out your body or your head. But for others of us, we're not. So, for example, my head length, I am longer in the body than 8 head lengths, which means I have a long body for my head. Does not mean I'm tall. I appear more tall because of that, but I'm actually only 5'6", so I'm not exceptionally tall, but I do have a long body for my head, and so that makes me look visually longer in the body. You might be the opposite. You might have a short body for your head length, and so your head seems larger, even though your head is a very average length. It just seems larger because your body is shorter. So that's something that you want the hairdresser to be able to take in. Are you going to ideally need a style that has more volume on top in order to help balance that out? Or what about the width of your shoulders? If you're very broad, you're not likely going to want something cropped too close that's going to emphasize the width of your shoulders, unless you particularly want to emphasize the width of your shoulders. And so that's why I say, before you get in the seat, before you put on that cape, make sure they get to see the whole of you. This is also particularly important for you when you're thinking about how long do you want the haircut to be, because when there is a cape that is like up this tall and they say, how about this? You can't even really see your actual shoulder line. So it's difficult when they say, oh, what about right here? What about here? That for you to get a good understanding of where that is. You also want them to show you the length while your hair is dry, not while it's wet. Because when we look at the length on wet hair and we say, yeah, cut it there, it usually bounces up a little bit and is going to inevitably be shorter. So these are the reasons why you want to have those conversations with your hairstylist before you get in the chair, before you get shampooed, especially if you're looking at a new style or a new stylist. Now, your hairstylist, of course, is going to look to you for direction on the style. And like we said, some of that is going to be limited by, how much hair you have, how thick it is, how thin it is. There's just a science, right, that goes behind what, different types of hair, what styles they can handle and pull off really well, and other people cannot so much, or at least not without some artificial maneuvering. So that'll be part of the equation. But the other part of the equation is twofold. One is your style aesthetic. Okay, so let me ask you, do you know your personal style aesthetic? Are you more sporty? Are you more romantic? Are you kind of a classic gal? Are you a little bit edgy? Do you really love drama? When you go to the hairdresser, sometimes we think, okay, let's go in like the worst shirt we have so they don't ruin it or something like that. But it is good for them to see you in your style so that they have an idea of, oh, okay, this gal is definitely going to do well in, more dramatic haircut, or this person is really going to need a more classic style, because they can see from your style aesthetic as you're dressed for the day where your leaning goes. So that's kind of really important to know for yourself. If you don't really have a firm grip on your personal style aesthetic, you might enjoy my class Exploring Your Seasonal Style, just to kind of get that nailed down, because often some of us have combinations of style aesthetics. But definitely, if you're a sporty type, a sportier hairstyle really makes a lot of sense. If you're a classic style, have a classic style, then a classic style makes a lot of sense. If you are have a very elegant style, then you're going to want a hairstyle that's a little bit more elegant. If you are a very dramatic or creative person, you're going to want that more dramatic or creative hairstyle. So you see where I'm going. And you'll probably intuitively be asking for that because you are drawn to that type of style. But then the third thing is, how do you make that work for your seasonal style? So all of the seasons can wear all of the styles. but we all do it a little bit differently. And so for that, I encourage you to think about your inherent line of design, the line of design that goes with your season that really brings you visually harmonious between yourself and your clothing. Because when you use that style line, it will also work very well with your hair. Right? So I'm a spring, and springs need clothes and accessories and things that are buoyant and uplifting and maybe refreshing or natural. There's a few different spring types, but we all need that kind of sense of just, we're lit from within by sunshine. So we need those lighter, uplifting styles in our clothing and in our accessories. And we're going to need that in our hairstyle. Doesn't mean if you are a spring that you need a cute hairstyle. Some springs are cutesy and they will want a cute hairstyle. Some springs are very elegant and they will need an elegant style, but that elegant style will still need to have that sense of buoyancy or upliftment. If you're an autumn type, you're going to, your line of design is swifter lines, right? You have speed in your style, and that's the line that is going to be the most in keeping with your season. Mellow autumns, it's a little softer. It's not as swift. You kind of borrow more of a summer line, but for the average autumn, for most autumns, you're going to need a swifter line. And so that gives you the opportunity to have swifter lines in your haircuts. And in your hairstyle. And that might be something that you achieve through asymmetry or through a blunt cut that's kind of angled, or through spikes. But you're looking for that energy in your line of design and in your hairstyle. If you are a mellow autumn who is a little bit softer of an autumn, then you might be borrowing from the summer line of design, which is more feminine. The summer line tends to be the S curve, the most feminine line. Think about a trailing rose. And so summers are going to feel and look their best if they have a more feminine style. It doesn't have to be girly. It doesn't have to be saccharine and sweet and romantic, but they are going to look better even in a short hairstyle if that short hairstyle makes them still look quite feminine. And so you're going to want to keep that in mind as you are choosing your hairstyle. And then if you are a winter, if you're a classic winter, you've got those beautiful symmetrical features. You're the person who can wear the hair parted straight down the middle and symmetrically, on either side, the beautiful tight chignon. You can wear all of those things, but not every winter is a classic winter and or has the hair that will support that kind of symmetry. You might be a dynamic winter. Your hair might be like more wiry and fun. You could be an exotic winter and you're going to have a very exotic hairstyle. You could be a soft winter and you're going to wear a softer style. But you have probably the most range because you gals are just so absolutely beautiful in terms of your hairstyles. So all of that to say that you do want to think about the line of design you've been given after your color consultation to wear for your seasonal type, and then see how you can translate that into your hairstyle, but also keeping in mind your personal style aesthetic so that there's this lovely blend. And then, of course, working with the hair that you've been given, because you're going to have to work with that, the body, vertical and horizontal, shape that you have, that you're going to want to balance out with how much hair or how little hair you're wearing. So there's a lot that goes into it, but when you get it right, you're going to feel fantastic. It's going to make such a difference because our hair is really so much a part of what we wear. How we wear it is really important. Now, I know you probably all have questions about color. I'm going to save that for the next video, but thanks for watching, and I hope that you have a very successful next trip to the hair salon. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.